Opening talk this evening is by Mr. Roger Schneeman, who is Manager, Furniture Design, RCA Consumer Electronics Division, responsible for aesthetic and human factors of console television receivers and related products. Mr. Schneeman is a 1958 graduate from the College of Design, Architecture and Art, University of Cincinnati, and has worked in the furniture and housewares industry since his graduation. He is a member of the Industrial Design Society of America and will speak on Probe 1 2000, Changing Lifestyles and Advances in Technology. Mr. Roger Schneeman. Let's try it.
Okay.
That'll get us started. There we go.
Well, good evening. I think it might be appropriate at a leisure symposium for me to remove my coat if you'll permit me. We have a prepared talk here. I have a helper on the shelf up here with slides. So if we can turn the lights off, we'll begin. In this age of the futurist, let us attempt to foresee the unforeseeable. A probe more into the vast change rather than attempt to forecast the specific future. Over the next 25 years or more, and we have less than 25 to go before the year 2000, you here today, or most of you here today at Ball State, will be in your 40s, with possibly a changing career far beyond your current outlook. Well, most of us will be a little older than that. And we'll have a lifespan probably beyond 90 years. Can we hope to predict the future any more accurately than this drawing implies? If you can envision the product of today, or of tomorrow, it's here today. A study of past future exercises brings up the famous study of 1937 that totally missed not only the computer, but radar, atomic energy, jets, antibiotics. Can we miss it in the same dimensions today? We should anticipate the future, but not predict the future. Not only is the pace of change accelerating, the dynamics of change are radically becoming different. The breaking set of the billiard balls best illustrates this violent technological explosion that we are moving into in the next quarter century. A multitude of directions, each in turn causing its own set of diffused causes and reactions. Future shock. Let's review some dimensions of this scenario from the standpoint of people, their most precious environment, and the greatest source of change, our technology. Numbers are often startling, particularly when projecting from a known history, like the futurist of 1873, who predicted quite accurately the growth of metropolitan New York, but was concerned how the city government would house the over 2 million horses required to transport that population. And that doesn't say anything about the problem of 8 million horseshoes or what to do with all the manure. At our current pace, double is an easy figure to project. Food, space, water, energy, fulfilling our people wants. People numbers will continue to expand. However, in the coming decade, few couples will have more than 2 children. Many will have none. With the means of safe, completely reliable birth control, even the ability to choose the sex of the unborn, and a major reduction in the risk of congenital defects. Increasing emphasis on zero population growth in the United States will spread worldwide. Other countries will adopt these medical and social means pioneered here. Even a negative birth rate may develop, shrinking the youth base, at least in this country, changing the entire structure of the market demand system. With the sheer youth dominance of this country's current population, it is little wonder we have seen a broadening social revolution. The current huge bulge of 18 to 35-year-olds says something to today's marketing men, psychographic researchers. But what will the impact around the year 2000 be when the population profile you see on the right is upside down? 50% of the population could easily be over 50 years old, and 30% over 50. That's 80% of the people in the population could be over 50 years old. A reversal of today's values by the end of the century, we will see an age-centered morality, possibly appearing in contrast to today's youth. Family planning will place more emphasis on the elderly than on children. Chronological age will be less important than functional age. We see today's social patterns to be an accelerating one towards the individual. Each person seeking to fulfill his or her own personal blueprint of a lifestyle. We can see this swing in many areas. For instance, personal time has moved from a predominantly, as you see here, work and a smaller play ratio towards a growing work-play fun quotient. With many people, personal time is too precious for pure leisure without meaningful qualities. Housing has moved from permanence to mobility with choice. Fashion, once predictable, is now rapidly growing into a personal thing. Where will the pendulum swing in the next 25 years? Personal and group fulfillment will be the byword in many areas. Just keeping up with change is a vocation in itself. The blue collar of today's standards will likely be a folktale by the turn of the century. Young people looking forward to vocations, and in a large part, this vocational change is due to our becoming a learning society. Let's look at some of the changes in the educational field. Reorganization and refoundation of many American educational systems can be expected by the year 2000. An individual may have to change his occupational specialty more than 2 or 3 times. Curriculum will change change its emphasis towards an organic whole new view of the individual and his universe. Society will probably need only 2% of its total population to produce the brain power for its research and development needs. A considerable expansion of students in educational programs will occur, however, in the higher age levels, 30 and beyond, possibly producing an educational boom in the near future. Schools will become a concept, not a place. The school will be the community. Students, parents, and teachers will school the whole child. A new system of universal voluntary study, replacing compulsory educational opportunities for lifelong education. One will have to learn to conform to the imperatives of logical mathematical reason, of information machines. Every environment will become a learning well of intellect. Just as our learning will drastically alter to meet change, our habitat must also change. At the current pace, Is the megalopolis of the future going to be a concrete jungle? If you were planning a country today, you wouldn't crowd 70% of the people into 2% of the land. Maybe we ought to have a plan that will foresee change ahead, but be flexible to adopt. The needs for urban dispersal, not one big city, but several, optimum-sized groups with a network of instant communications brought on by cable and closed-circuit TV. Now we go see people and events. In the future, we can bring people and events to see us. Let's look at the ramifications of the super communication system. Decentralization, dispersion of the cities, no commuting to a central headquarters, but a thin electrical film spread over the nation and the world. Quite a different world to live in and to work in. A halt to the megalopolis. No computer tied downtown, no office buildings, no shops. The city has gone back to the country. Smaller people units, 50,000 at the most. Business will operate from homes. 3D television, round-the-clock recording, home shopping. We can see the invisible city emerging. A city made to human measure with a flexible pattern, meeting regional and worldwide needs. Everyone will need his own habitat to grow, the young, the old, the moose, the Douglas fir, the traveler, the scholar, the nighthawk. At the current recreational pace, the United States needs 56 million more acres for recreational needs by the year 2000. New techniques for habitat development are foreseeable. Extensive use of the underground for facilities, transportation, leaving the surface natural. Possibly, as Pablo Sorelli envisioned, a city should be a plumbing system for moving people, ideas, and goods. Our habitat will become more flexible with climate, environment, communications, and sensory control, perhaps without walls, always free to change. Possibly the furniture will be the room. The habitat will hopefully not preclude our past and its rich heritage. Just as technology gives us new environmental experiences, can we still have the option to reside with a windmill in the year 2000, like you see here? We will see design and extensive use of responsive, super-controlled environments for private and public use, educational, vocational, and as we have observed, pleasurable. The implications of technology in this arena could be vast. We are now seeing the pendulum swing back to a greater interest and participation in foods, in part a counterattack on the influence of technology in creating and processing of what we eat. New foods not known today will emerge in the future, however, in delightful, delectable new forms. Common acceptance of synthetic foods. The use of soybean substitutes has just started. New tastes, emphasis on nutrition, perhaps the perfect martini, 1 calorie, non-fattening, non-toxic. Wouldn't be bad. Effective appetite and weight control built in. No more weight problems. Many meals. No more 3 meals a day as a family unit. Dispersing of cooking and eating utensils. They dissolve at certain temperatures, self-destruct, they're consumable, recyclable, containerless. As food processing changes, so will the process of raising food. New and useful plants and animal species will emerge, including the seedless tomato apple on the right that grows in a manner enhancing automated harvest. Shopping will never be the same. The proliferation and scale of products and food choices, among other choices necessitating new distribution methods, including point of selection, such as in-residence ordering. We have already launched the cashless society, which will bring automated, anytime banking and credit to the new shopper. No more department stores, supermarkets as we know them. All shopping and advertising is done through TV. Viewers dial their order or their service. There'll be no magazines, newspapers, nothing to wrap the garbage in, but maybe there won't be any garbage. Stores may be broadcasting studios and showrooms. They'll broadcast to the home with large warehouses for product distribution, automated grocery, department stores, and shopping distribution centers. What we shop for will radically change. The increasing discretionary dollar going for a variety of goods and services, perhaps beyond today's imagination. Of growing importance, and perhaps a major issue in the next 25 years, is discretionary time. That's time, not money. Our purchases will revolve around time, possibly not dollars. The increase in leisure time will foreseeably continue to increase as our needs become satisfied. Is man created to work in today's sense? Requirements in the future to meet our needs will be shifted to satisfying our serious wants. Life may become an intellectual leisure where everyone may find their wants satisfied. The loafer, the doer, the sportsman, the scholar, the traveler. Our longer lifespan will entail renewed educational opportunities, new multi-careers. One of the greatest wants is good health. All others pale in comparison. By 2000, national health insurance will cost $90 billion, with perhaps $200 a day for a hospital bed. I think we have that now, though. Society is on the threshold of major breakthroughs in biological science. Within a decade, immune tolerances for specific antigens will be established. Viral diseases may be controllable. Many forms of cancer could be curable. Computer technology will keep patients informed and give information relating to their condition almost instantaneously. The consumers of healthcare will make more decisions about their own health. Health consumerism may encompass everything from mood management pills to biofeedback machines and computer self-diagnosis consoles. By the year 2000, manufacturing of products will occupy the energies of not much more than perhaps 10% of the available labor force. Legislative disincentives for style obsolescence practices could appear by the year 2000. Long-lasting plug-in components, assembled manufactured goods will appear. We are well into the electronic age. By 2000, we may be into an intellectual age, leaving electronics in a manner similar to the way we're now leaving the mechanical age. With greater pressure on people today, there is a growing trend and need to transfer this pressure back to things through technology, creating products that provide more time and enjoyment. More products of the future will take over the burden of day-to-day mind-crowding problems. The product becomes the service, and its present is not felt except on demand. Mind-tip communications, non-products, as we know them today. Possibly our country could become a non-product society, our surroundings containing only art and artifacts we desire. The TV set on the right is today's technological attempt to meet this future prospect. We can look forward to more personalized products and services through high technology, computerized analysis and automated production, a trend to one-of-a-kind products, the waste-free society, recycling of products from manufacturer to consumer and back to the factory. Consumers consume nothing. Essentially, he rents everything. He employs the product, sometimes changing its form, but he does not discard it. The impact of our communications has and will be one of the most far-reaching causes of change in information flow in medicine, education, science, travel, and in business. Speed of communications, from putting a letter in a mailbox to sending a telegram to a phone conversation to a complete electronic network producing instant information, individual input-output computer terminal units. Low cost, every household will have one, like our present TV set or the evolving calculator. Shared time computers available to homes and businesses, perhaps metered or perhaps free. A resource, like our present libraries are now a national information utility system. Greater intellectual pursuits by people. The machine will be an intellectual collaborator. Now, low-cost energy and electronic products potential will create a more sophisticated personal communication system, perhaps with pocket TV phones, zones of silence, memory devices, and many more. With this changing communication network, travel will be greatly affected. Travel has become, for example, a plane ride from New York to San Francisco, nothing more or less than a 3,000-mile elevator ride, with coffee, tea, or milk, of course. Travel could be these sophisticated methods, or it could be supersonic aircraft, or it could be electronic, a billionth of a second. Telemobility, when far is near. With the advancing role of electronic technology, a new form of travel will emerge, where experiences are brought to people. New sets of stimuli, electronically created experiences. It is possible that we will arrive at a point when the human sensory system will no longer be able to distinguish between electronically created experiences over real experiences. We are talking about three-dimensional images, holography, giant flat-screen TV, environmental audio, visual experiences. What is real? Is that football game real that you're watching? Or is it a repeat, a facsimile, or a replay? With this increasing ability to communicate and be part of experiences anywhere, anytime, the privilege of privacy, the right to be alone, will become a major governmental and technological concern. One could envision creating electronic zones of silence where one would have the physical and intellectual freedom rarely available even in today's world. Now, we've talked about change on a people dimension, and where, how this change might affect life on Earth, necessitating life in space, perhaps, in the next 25 or 30 years, and where the obvious need is to devise some overall flexible strategy, a strategy to solve unknown problems, to create new, richer life as we probe into the future.